Welcome to Uncontained, episode 30. I'm your host, Aaron Static Render, and on the show today we have Iowa-based actress Lynn Keren. She's been acting since she was a kid, but recently, within the last few years, has got into doing film and modeling. Some of her recent performances have included a short called One Good Performance and The Girl in the Green Army Jacket. You can check those out on Vimeo and YouTube right now to get familiar with her. And also, she's worked on a film with guest number one of Uncontained, Tom Garland, called The Burial. And we talk about that a little bit in this episode, along with how she gets acting jobs being in Iowa, where it's not exactly a mecca for the entertainment business. We also talk about what projects she has coming up, including one with Sasquatch. And no, it's not a Jack Link's commercial. Let's get the show started. Wait no longer. Here's episode 30 of Uncontained with actress/model Lynn Keren. How's it going today, Lynn? And welcome to Uncontained.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's kind of going great right now.
All right, great. Thanks for coming on the podcast. And before we jump into a little bit more about yourself, you've actually worked with a previous Uncontained guest, Tom Garland. Is that correct?
Yep, yeah, we worked on a burial trailer. It was really fun to work with him. He's a great comedian, and apparently we've had a lot of connections through other things through each other, so it's been kind of funny knowing him. So
When I was living in Cedar Rapids and Iowa City, I was doing stand-up with Tom. Got to know Tom pretty well, and I was happy to have him as my first guest on the show. What was it like working with Tom?
Tom is an awesome actor to work with. Surprisingly enough, he pulls jokes so naturally, but working with him, he's so dedicated to the actor and the character itself. There's a scene that actually didn't make it into the trailer where he's holding a knife to my neck because all of us are like poisoned by this cursed forest. And he did like such a good job in like helping me react in a way that I'd look terrified when I kept trying to laugh. But he's a great person to work with and definitely super, super motivating.
So the knife to the throat was part of the script. It wasn't just Tom going like crazy on the
No,
set.
no. Yeah, it was part of the script.
All right, good. Well, so what did Tom do in order to get you into the scared mode instead of laughing mode on set?
Well, we try to keep it light, so it was hard not to laugh. But he and our director, Jack Meggers, definitely used a lot of provoking, like past emotions and memories to pull that. And then Tom would have his own conversation with Jack, and I would have my own. And then Tom just took it to like a whole nother level by just like talking to me. He's like, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna murder you, and blah blah blah, and like saying all these things. And I was just like already affected by Jack, so it was just over the top, but it was perfect for the scene.
All right. So you had to go through a little real life trauma to get to that point that you needed for the show.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, I think that's called method acting. I'm not
Okay.
100% sure. Okay, for my listeners that don't know you, could you share just a little bit about yourself? Because I want them to get familiar with you before we get rolling.
Okay. I'm Lynn Keren. I'm a 20-year-old Iowa State student here in Ames, Iowa. I started acting when I was a little kid, but started doing film probably around 2.5 years ago. My first movie I ever did was with director Connor Botts, and ever since then, I've been signed to Peak Agency here in Des Moines and have done acting and modeling.
All right, great. You said you got into acting like when you were a little kid. What kind of acting did you do then?
I did like cute little musicals when I was a little kid. I vaguely remember running around trees and singing with like hats on. So that's like my earliest memory of acting. But even when I was a little kid, I would make up voices and like scenarios and always was kind of acting since I was a child. But then I found out I can take it to even more of a level. So I did.
You said you like doing voices.
Hmm
Do you do impersonations? Do you do any voiceover work?
I haven't done impersonations, but I have been wanting to do voiceover and animation work. But in Iowa, it's very limited. But I definitely do want to dive into that at some point in my career.
Yes, that has always been a field that's kind of interested me. But I just heard the voices part. I was like, maybe I can get an impersonation out of her. Maybe I can get an impersonation out of her. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. But you did kind of do a voiceover project in a way. It was is it the girl in the army jacket or the girl in the
Yep, Girl in the Green Army Jacket, directed by Bill Albert, in Iowa City, actually.
I was like, that's in the Ped Mall.
Yep, exactly.
So the perspective of that was like basically showing you sitting on a bench in the Ped Mall
hmm
doing a voiceover, and you're kind of like lost in thought. Are those your thoughts going on in that, or is it what he thinks you're thinking?
It's actually based off of a true story of someone he saw many years ago. And he kind of just started in his mind writing an idea of who she might be and what she might be going through. And I guess one day it really inspired him and he decided to make it into a film, and I got cast in it. So was very lucky to bring that to life. And I guess he was just so fascinated by her that he decided to write a story for her.
Okay, and he never actually met this person. He just sat and like watched and observed for a while, or
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So he was, I don't know, maybe he was just really in awe of the situation or some type of essence that came from her. But yeah, he was just observing, I guess.
how did you like doing just the narration part of that separate from the acting part?
I actually really liked it. It was kind of hard to figure out how I wanted to portray it because you could see it as something coming into positive or going into a negative type of vibe, or it could just be a very neutral kind of, this is her life, it's what she's used to. So we definitely played around with that, but doing that was really fun. I'd never done voiceover for any type of film yet, so it was really cool.
Did you find it difficult to capture the same mood as a voiceover actor compared to acting sitting lost in thought on the bench? Did you find it hard to capture that same vibe in voiceover and post?
I guess a little bit, 'cause I wish I would have done a little bit more research, and talked to him about what exactly, she seemed like to him or what vibe she gave off. But we kind of just went with it and it turned out pretty good. But yeah, it was a little difficult to try to do that and then do a face of it. It was just kind of a little awkward, but it turned out really a lot better than I thought.
Yeah, yeah. Seems like it could possibly develop into something more. Are there any plans for that or
Uh,
a more in-depth look at the girl in the green army jacket?
Actually, I don't know. I know we want to collaborate this October, so maybe I'll bring that up to him and we'll get a sequel going.
For those of you who haven't seen it, you can find it on YouTube or Vimeo. I think I saw it on. What else do you have going on acting wise right now, Lynn?
At the moment, I'm actually on a break since I'm in my third year of college. But
Getting an education?
yes, getting an education. Um, but within the next few months, I'm actually going to be filming a movie series called Sasquatch, Boss of the Forest, starring me and Ben Rollins, which will play the character of Steve, who is this researcher and he's trying to find Sasquatch. So I play his granddaughter.
Okay, okay. I was like wondering who's playing Sasquatch if they had a little like makeup for you, like kind of like the Geico
Yeah, they
caveman,
just need
you
five
know?
four girl playing Sasquatch. So
That'd be the most adorable Sasquatch ever.
his little red cheeks and everything.
So you play the granddaughter in the movie. Can you talk much about it yet, or is it still kind of like can't really go into details on it, or?
Yeah, it's kind of under wraps right now, and the script is being edited a little bit, so I'm not 100% sure what the eventual outcome is, but definitely I will keep people posted on my YouTube and Facebook page.
Okay, great. So being from the Midwest or living in the Midwest, it doesn't seem like quite the hub for acting and modeling. How do you find these jobs? How do you get acting and modeling work in the Midwest?
And that was definitely something I was concerned with when I thought of this as a career. I always thought Hollywood was the only place you could really go to, but apparently Iowa does have a very big film industry. Chicago is a lot bigger; it's a bigger market, but in Iowa we definitely have people who are talented enough that we can create a lot of these amazing artistic movies or comedies or PSAs. Um, I mostly went through Facebook and looked up like Iowa actors, Iowa film, and that's honestly how I've gotten most of the jobs that I've done, and also just networking a lot. With those people, making sure that you're always on a positive outlook on set and making sure that you keep in touch with them and collaborate with them in the future.
Cool. So social media plays a huge role in connecting with people in the industry.
Yeah, and it definitely helps you promote yourself. I made a Instagram and a Facebook and a YouTube, and I use those to continue to promote my work, what I do, and personal level things. So,
Okay, and you identify yourself as an actor first, right?
yeah,
And then a model?
yes, yes.
Okay, when did you decide to start getting into modeling along with acting?
I actually kind of just did it for fun. A friend and I, she's actually a model and actress now too. Her name is Sydney Brown. We decided one day to go to a group photo shoot, and then I loved doing it. And ever since then, I just kept going to photo shoots and collaborating with photographers and going from there. So it kind of was just a fun hobby that came up out of nowhere.
Okay, cool. That's always nice just to stumble onto something you like to do like that.
Just modeling.
So, through acting and modeling, what are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced?
I think the biggest thing has been I think maybe this is just a personal thing, like a critique. Don't put expectations in your brain. I think that's the one thing that I definitely learned from it all. If you expect certain type of results, you won't be happy with what you have. You just kind of have to go in thinking, okay, this is what I'm doing, and when I see the results, I'll know the results, not kind of just putting it in your brain before. Um, if you think that it's going to look perfect, it's not going to look perfect. So it's kind of
Would
almost
you
like a self-critique thing.
Okay, would you say your own worst critic
Oh, yeah.
or
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
okay, so what do you do to not be so hard on yourself? Do you have any strategies for not beating yourself up?
Yeah, how you look at other people's work, kind of just separate yourself. Don't look at it as yourself, look at it as another person's work. Um, like watch the movie as the character. Watch them like look at the different parts of the photo shoot as another model. It's not you. And then critique it based on that so you're not as harsh on yourself, and then just learn from it. Definitely just learn from things that you see that could be changed.
Yeah, a lot of people can be the reason they don't go out and do stuff is because they kind of beat themselves up as they go along.
Exactly. Yeah.
You said you shot a PSA.
Yep.
What was the PSA for?
It was to bring awareness about the Mississippi watershed and kind of the contamination and different things that flow into it that can definitely mess with the water's quality. And what it was is that every person that was an actor played a different type of mineral or contaminant, and we kind of all interacted with each other. And it was almost supposed to be a way of us being like an addiction group, like like a group session. Like, hi, my name is, I played like a heavy metal, so I like dressed up as like a rocker and everything, and I said like rock on, had the music. So you played each character by how you were, but you interacted with each other as the element. It was really really cool and definitely something I like to do.
That's definitely a unique take on it. But for those of us that don't necessarily know what the Mississippi watershed is and what's going on there, obviously there's a lot of elements hanging out there, socializing. But what's wrong with the Mississippi watershed?
So basically, the rain has caused runoffs to go into the crops and contaminate the watershed, which is what we use all for our own water supply. And it was just to bring awareness that we need to be careful what we put on all of our crops, what we litter, and just showing how it can affect the water quality that we have.
That makes more sense to people who aren't along the Mississippi River. And what's going on in the watershed AA group?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so you've been acting since a very young age. You've recently gotten into film and modeling. What are your goals? Where do you want to be in the entertainment industry?
I honestly definitely want to be doing big league movies. Suicide Squad just came out, which is like one of my favorite movies. And I just love the CGI and the action and the characters, and that's definitely something that I want to continue further in to go to those bigger films,
Okay.
work on those crazier characters that is just a dream of mine.
I haven't seen that movie yet, believe it or not, but I've been wanting to go. But from what little I've seen of the Joker,
Hmm.
correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like a cross between the Heath Ledger Joker and David Bowie.
Oh wow, I didn't really think about that.
Is that correct, or am I? I've only seen like pictures of him and like
Okay.
maybe a preview, but
No, he is amazing. He shows the different, like, Joker is many different types of like insane, and he shows a whole new side of insane. It's like this like sexy gangster Joker. It's not this like menacing, intimidating. He walks in the room and you want to run away. He walks in the room and you just want to watch what he'll do next. That's like definitely the Joker he portrays, and it's just absolutely flawless. I loved it so much. I've seen it twice actually.
okay. So is he kind of like the rock star, like
Yeah, like a rock star gangster kind of feel and vibe to the Joker, but still intimidating enough.
cool? I definitely have been wanting to go see that, but I just haven't had the chance to yet. Maybe I'll get out to it soon, or have to wait till it's on Netflix or Redbox or something like that. But
It's worth it. It's worth it.
have you done any CGI work before?
I have not. I actually really want to because I've actually worked a lot in virtual reality here at Iowa State, and we just started using the HTC Vive, and it lets you do a Star Wars game, and it's all virtual reality. And just doing that, I was like, wouldn't it be insane if you could watch yourself being in Star Wars with all of these effects and these different creatures? Like it just, oh, it blows my mind. It would just be so cool to do that.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. I think it would be kind of hard though, kind of well you're acting like in this universe that is just a blue or green screen right in front of you. You got to imagine all these elements going on around you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's hard. Yeah, for sure.
It'd be kind of like when you have it to go back to when you were a kid and you were playing Star Wars or something like that, and you had to imagine like all the whole universe around you, and to be able to make that transformation, I think it'd be kind of fun.
It's fun, and it's definitely it's sometimes it's even not even needing a green screen to do that. Sometimes if you're doing close-up shots, you're looking at a wall and pretending that's someone that you're in love with and they're breaking up with you and you have to completely emote and someone's just reading off the lines or you're doing a monologue. So it is possible to do it without the green screen, but it's the fun part about being an actor is creating this world that no one else can see except for you. And then when the final results bring it all together, people think it's just magical.
Yeah, that is really interesting because you never really think about when it shows a close up of a person that they're just looking at a wall or at the camera itself. You kind when the editing's done right as an audience member, you're kind of looking at it like, oh yeah, of course, the person's on the other side. They're looking at that person. They're in the same room. But a lot of times that's not the
Yeah,
case.
exactly. And that happens a lot. A lot more than people expect, actually, a lot more than I knew before when I started doing films. I was like, yeah, another person's gonna be there. And they're like, nope, you're just gonna look at this wall and pretend you know who that is. I was like, oh, okay, well, I get to talk to you like I'm in love with you, but okay. So it's pretty interesting what you have to use your mind with, no matter what in film.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing goes with like voiceover as
Mhm.
well. Like you'll just be in the booth by yourself. Well, most of the time, nobody else will be there, and just the producer giving you cues on what to do, and you read all the characters' lines. You have one-sided conversations, and you got to capture that emotion that they're trying to get all by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I've actually seen a lot of B-roll for voiceover. And what they'll do is they'll take one sentence and they'll say it 10 times in 10 different ways. And then whichever they see that reacts best with the other person, they use. So it's a lot of imagination.
Yeah, and a lot of repeating
Yeah.
things.
You memorize the script
But
very fast.
yeah, and it's always one thing I learned while I was doing radio or in college, working, doing some video stuff. It's always best to have too much footage
Oh,
instead of needing to go back and get something.
yeah. No, no, that's exactly what film is like.
What would be one of the biggest things that you've learned, maybe about yourself or about the entertainment industry?
That's a good question. Something I've learned about myself is definitely not, people tell you to say yes to everything, but sometimes it's okay to not to. It's okay to pass off opportunities if you can't. I definitely was like, okay, yeah, I'll do everything, but sometimes you can't. And that's honestly like big advice. If you know you can't, even though you really want it, sometimes it's okay to say no. Um, that's definitely something I learned about myself to kind of say what's okay and what's not. Um, if a script changes and you don't like how it is, or if it's not what you thought it was going to be, say no. Um, that's just kind of how something I've learned to be tough when it comes to things that you're making. If you're not happy with it, you don't need to do it. Um,
What would be something that you draw the line at?
um,
Like, no, I don't want to do that. This was supposed to be this kind of party.
yeah. I've actually had a script change so that I would be more provocative than I would have been previously, and I didn't film the movie after that. And that might sound horrible, but I just turned like 18, just started film, and that was being thrown in my face. So it kind of deterred me away for a while, but if
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm comfortable with it, I don't have to do it. And if a director, isn't okay with that, then I'll go to another project. That's just kind of how it goes. You have to build a tough skin, not only for criticism, but for yourself.
Okay, cool. That's actually very, very insightful right there. And going from that insight to another insight, do you have any advice that you would give anybody starting out or looking to take that next step in the entertainment industry?
Yeah, be proactive. This is an industry where things are always moving and opportunities do close fast, but they do come fast. So if one door closes, another one opens. Just be ready for it. Always make sure that you have monologues prepared, that you are willing to travel, even if you're not going to get paid. Um, just be prepared for anything to happen because this is a smaller industry, and even in the biggest industry, things go by quickly and you have to be ready for them.
Okay, cool. Have you been caught hesitating before and missed out on opportunities?
Yes, definitely.
Any that you regret?
No, not really. I kind of just kind of was like, okay, well, one door closes, another one opens, so I don't let it anger me. Um, but definitely haven't regretted any of them, no.
Okay, cool. So this is a new question that I'm starting to ask my guests here on Uncontained. It's how do you promote yourself? What do you do to get your name out there?
Definitely social media, and networking. If you're ever on a film set, make sure you say hello to every single person, whether it's an assistant production, lighting, if it's the director, the producer, all of the castmates,
Even craft
even
services?
craft services, because you don't know when they're going to be the next Steven Spielberg. Um,
That is
you
true.
never know. So always be nice to everyone and treat everyone very well and respectful because they are there for the same reasons you are, for the love of the art of film. And use social media, make a YouTube channel, show the different types of acting you can do. Promote your different films, promote yourself, promote other actors and models. Just make sure that your name is out there for people to see and enjoy.
Great advice on that. And what are some other ways that you have used social media?
Um, I have seen maybe an opportunity that comes up, a casting call for a time that maybe I can't film. But I will go ahead and send directors my website or my Facebook telling them, hey, this is my work. If you ever have any movies and we want to collaborate, here are my credentials. Don't be afraid to talk to people and to push your name to people who can definitely change your career.
All right, great. So where can people get a hold of you? Like you mentioned a website, Facebook. You want to go ahead and throw those out there so people can, get a hold of Lynn Karen.
Yeah. I have a Facebook page and it's just Lynn Keren. You can find it anywhere. It's a like page, so go ahead and like that anytime you would want. And then I also have a website called lynk10.wix.com. You can find it on my Facebook page, and it has all of my different modeling and acting, my resume, and a little bit about myself.
Great. And before we get to the last question that we ask, you will have to do me a favor and keep me updated on the Sasquatch movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, I definitely will.
Do you know who they have casted for Sasquatch yet? Is that public knowledge
I
or?
actually don't know. That's actually a good question. I have no clue who Sasquatch is. That's a good question.
All right, all right. Well, if you want to come out to California and shoot, I'll be Sasquatch.
Okay, for sure. I'll let him know. I'll let him know.
I doubt they'll make the trip out here, but I'm just throwing that out
Yeah, no,
there.
for sure.
I did play like in this in it's almost a fan film that would have, if it got finished, possibly go to film festivals and stuff. I did play Michael
Oh,
Myers from Halloween.
wow.
So
Okay.
it was kind of fun. Didn't really go anywhere, but it was a fun time doing it. There's trailers on YouTube and stuff you can get. It's like called Halloween 7 Bloodline, but it didn't get finished.
Okay.
But you can't let that bother you. You just got to get, as you probably know, you just got to get your name out there, go do stuff, as you said, travel even if you don't get paid for it, type thing.
Exactly. All for the art and love of film.
Have you worked on anything that hasn't gotten finished that you might have been like, oh, okay, that would have been cool if it made it, but it never made it past production?
Yeah, yeah, there was actually a movie called September 16th. And I don't know if maybe it will be finished. It's still considered in post-op. It's basically about this alien invasion that causes me and my sister to become sick because my boyfriend is actually being possessed by these aliens. So I definitely would love to see the CGI and extra parts of that, but it hasn't come out yet. So
Well, maybe we can help create a little stir about it. We'll put that in the show notes along with your contact information and stuff like that. So that sounds like a very interesting movie, and I'd like to see it get it made. So,
Yeah.
Uncontained audience, let people know who would they need to contact to get that done.
Okay. Yeah. Connor Botts. He's Cinemaster in Iowa. So
Just harass him a little bit. Nothing too bad. But all right, Lynn. So now I got to get to the question that I asked all my guests here to wrap up the show. Basically, it has to do with the name of the show, Uncontained. How do you live uncontained?
I live uncontained by proving that dreams can come true. By going against social norms and by doing things the way that I've wanted to do them in my own way, I've definitely lived uncontained.
Perfect. And will you do me the honor of signing us off the show today?
Yeah, I'm Keren, and I live uncontained.
Thank you for listening to Uncontained, and thanks again to Lynn Keren for coming on and sharing how she lives uncontained on this show. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and get to your favorite pod player, subscribe, share, rate, review, do all those things, whatever order you want to. Many people already have, and I appreciate every review because it helps us get found and it helps our artists promote themselves as well that come on the show and share their stories of how they live uncontained. If there's somebody you'd like to hear on Uncontained, please let me know. Message me on my Facebook page, Uncontained Pod. I'm always looking for interesting guests to have on the show. Thank you for listening, and until next time, live uncontained.